Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. I'm going to be working on one of the biggest reels that Penn made in the spinning reel. This is the Penn 9500. It's a huge reel. And well, as you can see, cosmetically it's poor. It's got flaking paint. It's got a lot of salt issues with it. It's got a bail that isn't closing very well. And well, it looks like you know, it's had a hard life, but that doesn't mean it can't be given a second chance. Now, I'm not a painter, so I don't paint these reels. Maybe Hugh, the owner of that, would like to do that. What I'm going to show you how to make this mechanically correct, and then, well, they can see if they want to fish it with this lovely patina, or if they want to repaint and make this a pretty reel as well. There's a couple of things we want to do. One of them is probably take the line off of this, and the other is to make it mechanically correct. I'm going to start by removing this spool. At some point I'll take a break and pull the line off to expose the inside. We can see that for the most part, right on the bottom, the reel is sticking. And mechanically, otherwise, it's working. The bail, well, the bail is just, it should hit this post and go, but it's sticking. So let's take some of these things apart in pieces and see what we can do here. There's a couple of things that I always check when I get to these Spinfishers of this age. One of them is to see if there's a screw through the bearing on the inner part of this one. Wow, even the nut cap is stuck. So let's start by just giving a good spray of penetrating oil, kind of sort of everywhere. Just let it kind of soak in here because I got to get screws out. Here's an interesting one. Let's take this off and see if the bail spring is broken or if it's just a matter of being sluggish. A lot of times it's just sluggish. Sometimes, well, there's a broken piece of part. While I'm doing this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. That notification button will let you know when I'm posting videos, and you can make a decision as to whether you would like to watch that. That spring is intact, so let's flood this as well. And that should open up the, look at that, just by a little bit of flooding, you've got a bail that functions again. And the little secrets of that penetrating oil. Right, put the cap back on and the cover back on. That's one problem down already. The bail works. I'm thinking what I'm going to find inside is very old and dried grease. Not sure if that's the case, but it always is nice to have a thought stream going in about what's going to be the issues with the reel. One of them is solved. We've solved the bail trip issue. Now, when you're doing that, go ahead and make sure that you put some penetrating oil on both sides. This is a dead end over here, but it doesn't hurt to do that. And, well, let's throw the bail open. And you can see it's what's called a bang bail. So we're also going to check when we do this, we're going to check, because that certainly seems like it's bent out of shape. Okay, let's keep moving on here. Let's see if I can get this off now. Sometimes on the bigger reels in Penn, there is a screw underneath this side holding the shaft through. In this case, it's not. You have the bearing in this side. And we can take the handle off from this side. That screws out in the opposite direction of the handle cranking. And I'm going to flood that with some penetrating oil. You can see there's been a lot of salt effort in here. This cap is just full of it. And I use that penetrating oil as a cleaner, a degreaser, and in this case, it'll probably melt the salt away and enable me to get some of that stuff out of the cap. Sometimes you need even a little bit more. So this reel's had a hard life. Doesn't appear as though it's been serviced much. attribute that issue with the performance that we've seen is going to be because of the dirt and grease and junk. But let's keep going with this. There's 4 screws that hold the case on. Let's take those off. Hopefully we don't break them along the way. Now Penn, to their credit, use stainless steel screws, so you rarely find these things rusted into the case. Doesn't mean they won't be hard to get out, but you rarely find them rusted. A lot of manufacturers have used steel screws. They rust in, and they're kind of hard to remove. Wow. You're going to have to let that sit a little bit. 2 out of 3. Well, it's been sitting a little bit. Let's, oh, we got it turning. Good. Let that soak in again. Seems like I got the first break on it. And mop up that penetrating oil that's on my board. One of the things I like about using this board is, well, that penetrating oil kind of keeps it fresh. I'm going to go back and remove the other 3 screws and come back, see if that penetrating oil helped me on that case there. You never know what you're going to find when you find a reel like this that is so badly salted. And you can tell the evidence of that on that spool. You can tell the evidence on it as a way it's wasting away on the paint here. And, well, you can see it in things like the screws that are getting seized. You can see all the dirt and salt on that thread there. Let's take the little one out here. Okay, we'll do one more check on that bottom screw there. Hopefully that penetrating oil has helped. Doesn't take much with screw threads. Of course, what you want to avoid or hope to avoid is snapping that screw head off. But I see it's working out. I'm going to just keep at this, getting a little more penetrating oil as we go. Hopefully that eases it up a little bit. And be patient as you do this stuff, because any rush and, well, the consequences of rushing can just mean that you break something off. And even though I see the threads coming out here, I'm still concerned that the bottom end of the screw might, there we go. I think we finally feel that penetrating oil in the seams now. All right, well, we got the 4th one off. Small miracles. All right. You need to get that case off because you can't really continue your work if you don't have the case off. Lift the case up and we can see what the issue is in this reel. Not only is it salt encrusted, it's well, dry and devoid of any greases and the like. Bearing still works. All right. Well, best thing to do here is do a couple of things. Bring this down. Surprisingly, this is still working. Bring this down and kind of rinse and repeat. Do exactly what we just did with the other stuff. And that is to hose it down. All the pieces and parts inside here, a good bath of the penetrating oil to dissolve the salts. What I'm going for right now is these 2 screws to remove that axle shaft. This is a testimony to the way that the Penn reel was made, because a lesser reel would have stopped turning long ago with all of the intrusion of the salts and debris and the like in this case. This one should have a nickname. Maybe it should be called Old Salty. But you know what? It's going to go fishing again. No doubt. So I think what's happening here, we were talking about the bottoming out and how it wasn't feeling very smooth. I think what we're going to find is the salt and everything is jammed it up. You can see it right here, actually. This hunk of salt right here is stopping that crosswind block from completing its cycle. So that's out of there now. And now that would be able to go all the way down. Let's pull out the axle shaft. The axle shaft is not bent. The axle shaft is in good condition. These, I kind of have this take on these types of projects. I call them clean up in aisle 7. Mostly the cause of the issues is dirt and debris. All right, let's remove that crosswind block. I'm just checking this now. One of the things you worry about, and this is an aluminum piece, you worry about scarring and pitting, because that can inhibit the turn and the light. This one's okay. It has a lot of junk in there, but we're all right inside the groove, which is the important part here. All right. Just clean up the rest of that block. This is the important side right here, and it's in good condition now. Let's see if we can manage to get that main gear out. I fear a little bit on this. I'm just hoping it's not stuck in this side. One of the things to do if you're having an issue with the main gear is put the handle back on. Use that as more leverage to remove that main gear. Piece of cake when you have leverage, right? And I'm even surprised by that one, how well that worked. And with that main gear removed, the crosswind gear came out. This again is just surface salt here. It's an annoyance, but it has nothing to do with performance on this side. I'm going to use a razor knife to kind of get that old stuff off of there. And I want to get that right onto a paper towel because I really don't want to transfer that onto my workbench for the next project. Now, as I said, I'm not a beautician. I don't come in and say it's got to look right. Mine is the mechanical side of it. And this really didn't even absolutely necessarily have to be done. But there's no reason not to do that. And this is the old caked grease on this side. It's long since evaporated. So I gotta find my little screwdriver now that I use as a scraper. That would be this one. And you want to be real careful with this because you don't want the salts and that are being scraped off the inner part of this gear now to lodge in the teeth. So I'm trying to transfer that stuff over to the paper towel. Keeping that towel on my bench. Pull through the teeth now with a brush to make sure that those are all free. One more thing you can do because of the extent of this is pull through the teeth here. Now, I have a ultrasonic cleaner that was designed for jewelry. Works great on fishing reel parts. And once I'm done pulling through on this, we're going to take all of our gearing, this one, the oscillation gear and the pinion gear, we're going to put it in that cleaner. Okay. Examining the teeth as I was doing that, they're okay on this side. Now I want to check the points of the teeth. Make sure we don't have any wear side to side. That one will go in. Same idea here. This can't be effective with all of this stuff on here because the crosswind block is running in here. Good news with this one, again, it's quality material. It's a brass gear. It's not a gear of pot metal or whatever. That would have long been gone with the issues that this reel has had. That salt and corrosion that got inside this reel would have eaten those things alive. two that'll go in. I'm going to remove the rotor now. When I take all my pieces and parts off, they go into my parts tray. I use a fast food container. That parts tray helps me to centrally locate all of the pieces. And well, when it comes time to put this back together, I know where they are. All right, what do we got in here now? I think that's a flake of paint. We have a very loose anti-reverse dog there. We have another flake of paint here. What I'm trying to get to at the moment is the removal of that last gear. To do that, I want to remove this anti-reverse dog. There's two of them on here. This is one of them has got a bait alarm. That's this one. And one of them has got the forked alarm for the anti-reverse. This one is the bait alarm. It's controlled by the top here. And generally, if this piece is moving as it is, you can just swing that off to the side. Now this has got a lot of bubbled old paint. It's time to remove this. Grab another. And what I want to make sure is that old paint doesn't transfer over to the next project. Okay, we're in good condition with this. It's not broken. We have this in gear. 3 more screws here. Take a picture of how this mounts. There's a flat side, kind of an oval shape. It may be symmetrical, I'm not sure. Doesn't hurt to take the picture here. This is your hold down. Contains one more bearing underneath. That'd be time to give this reel a pretty good bath. I have 2 ultrasonics. One is a jewelry cleaner. We're going to put the gears in that. I think we're going to put the bigger posts into the other one that I have. All right, this one has got a longer extension on the one side for flat than it does on the other. So this is the top side. And then we'll want to come back and remove the pinion gear assembly. To do that, pull up. Got it halfway up. There we go, walk it out. All right, collar on top. Bearing. Bearing's working. So all of these bearings surprisingly are working, which to me is quite amazing. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut the camera off. These gears are going into the ultrasonic cleaner, the jewelry cleaner. I'm going to spend a little bit more time getting the salt out of this case, and then this case and the rotor will go into that. I'm going to remove the line on the reel here. And this will go into the ultrasonic bath as well. So I don't think you need me to see me do any of that. So we'll just cut this for now. We'll come back with some clean parts and continue to work on the reel. Okay, one more thing I can do while we're waiting on this ultrasonic. This bail is bent terribly out of shape. If you can get that bail screw to cooperate here, take that off, and you'll notice that the bail doesn't align with the post. That's what's causing the tension. This one should trip back easy, which it does. So what we need to do is we need to work on the bail in terms of getting that one closer to original form. Usually it's a wire, so usually you can just kind of work with your eye and your hands to get it more in position. This should be close. Again, everything here is a little tight. I guess you got to know a little bit about how this thing should look, right? We're not far off here. You shouldn't feel any tension at all when you go to reset that screw. This has got a much nicer shape to it now, so we're getting close. I think that might be it. Let's take a look. Attach that screw. Now we have no tension coming in. We have that arc. Oh yeah, that's coming back much easier. So what's going to happen is it's going to come over here and hit, and that should just go back nice and easy now. Also, you probably noticed that this is pulled into the carrier now. It's not out a 1/4 inch like it was. Yeah, this one's going to work just fine. Okay, a little bit of oil on that, and we are going to wait for the results of that ultrasonic. So we'll come back when that's done. All right, well, cleaning's done. We've been able to bring this into the ultrasonic cleaner. It did a nice job on the gearing. And well, it's ready to go back and get reinstalled now. So reinstallation is essentially the reverse of what it is that we did. So we're going to take our pinion gear. We've examined the tracks. We know that they're all in good condition on the teeth side of it. I'm going to load it up with fishing reel grease. A little bit where the inside race of the bearing goes. I'll take that bearing. Put a little bit of oil on it. It's been oiled before. I had it sitting on my table here. It doesn't hurt to put a little bit more on there. We can bring that over and insert that into the carrier. And actually, I'm going to do, I don't do this much, but on this one was sticking just a light coat of grease on that outside of that bearing. Should help it seat easier. Maybe not get stuck on the next time. It's a tight case fit, but just work it in. It'll eventually get in there. There we go. Make sure that your bearing seats flush to the case. And then we need to find that little carrier, the collar, and 3 screws that hold that collar on. And for this, I'm going to use a screw starter. Hold that screw. Remember what we said, the long side of this runs here. And we'll just start the 3rd one. And tighten those down. Then we have the collar. Goes next. After tightening down the collar screws, we want to add our anti-reverse and our anti-reverse dog. So they're going to seat like this, and then they're going to seat on the post. And it's important to get the screw into the hole. Now that piece doesn't float there. There's actually a hex positioner on the back of the rotor. And we're going to have to set that up in just a moment. Once you've tightened that screw down, you want to center the clutch, and there's going to be the ring that goes on. Okay, and with that mounted, put your hold fast on. You got to square that up to the rotor itself now. I'm going to use the rotor nut here to tighten this up. Start it by hand. Make sure that it's hand tightened. You can finish it. Give it a test. Make sure the nut's tight. Okay, we're set. Let's take our crosswind block now, start on the internal work. We want to get grease on the back, grease in the gears, grease on the face, and then we want to install that with the stud pointing down. Grab our block. The only part of the block that touches anything is the back side, so make sure that you get good grease with that. Then that block sits over the stud. One more piece that needs to be lubricated. That's our main gear. We'll do the same thing. The teeth on the front and the back. The one that drives the pinion gear and the one that drives the oscillation gear, or both sets of teeth. Get grease. Okay, we've oiled that back bearing. We can bring our main gear in, and now we can bring our axle shaft in to secure that. We mentioned it came out nice and easy. Just a light coating of grease on there. Anything more than that, it will squeeze out when you go to put it through this top end. Bring your axle shaft down. Make sure that the flat side is facing out. Then get the tie down clip. You can align the two of those. And if we can find a screw starter here, we'll do this again. The two screws that hold down that piece. Well, this one's certainly going to be back. It's not going to look pretty, and well, Hugh will have to decide whether he wants to have somebody paint this or use it just as it is. You can use it as it is. I would recommend that after each use you spray it down with something like a WD-40 to prevent further corrosion of it, but it can go with the no paint. Just need to be sensitive to it. All right, tie that down. This should give us an indication right now. We're not, yeah, everything's working fine. All right, next up then we can put the case on. The bearing's been oiled, it's been sitting there. I've oiled both sides of the bearings. We can just bring that case over the top. We have the 4 screws go next. They're all the same size, so it doesn't matter what side plate hole that you put these in. Again, we have some more chipping going on there as well. That's a big reel for big fish. Hugh's down in Florida. I'll have the opportunity to catch some bigger fish with them. This is the one screw that we had the issue with. So let's just tighten these down. I like to go corner to corner, opposites. Just trying to do too much with that first screw. So I just figured take the tension off of it by putting the other one in. All right, tight. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, maybe you're working on one and you're stuck, maybe you want to know what the competitive reels are that Shimano or Daiwa or somebody else makes that would go up against the Spinfisher. There's some nice ones out there. This one's an older version. This one was made in the 90s. All right, all of that's done. You can take that side plate apart. I just want to see if we can't get a little bit more of that dirt in the cap out. And we can install that cap. That bearing on this side's been oiled. Tighten that down. Handle can be tightened down now. Okay. All right, let's put this back on now. I did remove the line on it. And we can put the button back on. Okay, so what have we done? We've taken the reel apart completely. We've cleaned the reel. We addressed the bail issue. We had two things going on there. One was sticking because of the old dirt. And we did an ultrasonic bath there to clean up some of the stuff. We did mention that cosmetically this all should be addressed with paint probably. Took the inside apart, completely cleaned that up, saw all the salt and bad grease and residue in the lake. Took the line off and got rid of as much corrosion as we could that you can see clearly was eating into the spool itself. Did our best there. And well, nothing left now but to give it a test. Let's give it a ride. I'll tell you what, this is one smooth reel. It's got the override on it there that's controlled by this. That's the silent bait feeder mode. The anti-reverse is working fine. And this is the double dog reverse, if you will, with the click. Of course, we worked on this bail. We want to make sure it snaps nice and easy now. And of course, the light is still tapped now. It's doing everything it should. Well, that's it. Wow. That's the Penn Spinfisher. It's the 9500 SS. It was the biggest reel in that series. This one's not pretty, but it's ready to catch a lot of fish. Mechanically, it is exactly where it needs to be. And, well, I wish you a lot of great fishing with the reel. I want to take a minute to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody who's got our best interests in mind and keeping us safe. I want to thank everybody for watching and for making this channel what it is. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody great times on the water and, well, fun fishing. Have a great day.